Hi, welcome back, everybody. I wanted to take a moment and just introduce you to the Teacher To Do course. We've restructured a little bit to match up with the in-service that you're going through right now this week. The teacher in-service documents are located here. So we have stuff from Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Some things I want to highlight in the Wednesday document are the following. These Buzz training and resources, these are directly embedded and ready for you. They will really help you become a master at Buzz. And I know many of you are already really good at it, but if you want to just fine tune and look for something that you can add, that would be great. So you'll want to be going through that. The G Suite training here, the videos in here, first is there's an introductory video showing you how to get to the G Suite portal. And then there is G Suite screen capturing that you have to turn in. It's a Dropbox for you to turn in, just letting us know that you've completed all the Google Mail training. And then I also have this document right here, which is an iForward Gmail issues and resolutions. What you would do with that document is you would go to the document, and in the left side of the table, you would put in your question or issue and what your desire is. And in the right side of the document, I would provide you with a solution. Okay. And so just be aware of that. I get a notification whenever something new is filled out there. And then the other two things I'd like to point out is we have an iForward School staff calendar. So that's a Google Calendar. And we have an iForward Schools parent calendar. So information that will go in the parent calendar would be the important dates from the school year. And that's a work in progress yet. And the staff calendar would be things such as our staff meetings and important dates as well, like conferences and whatnot. So, all right. So that is some things that you can be looking at for today. Now, the main thing I want to highlight about Thursday is the PLC, PBLT, and formative assessment options. So in this section, we have information from the 28th in-service in Grantsburg. And so you have the CCA handouts from Grantsburg. You have understanding formative and summative assessment. And then these three documents here, actually these four really relate to some things that we'll be doing. So I'm going to jump into the 2018-19 PLC planning document for iForward. And so as you take a look at this document, the table has our four questions. What do we want students to learn? How will we know they've learned it? What will we do if they haven't learned it? And what will we do if they have learned it? I went ahead and looked at, okay, what have we done in 2017-18 related to these? And what are we looking to do in 2018-19? So just to take a quick look at it, our two main focuses in 2018-19 are really going to be right here in the question number one, still in our ELTs, we're going to do standards prioritization. And then question number two is how we know that students have learned it. So we'll really be spending time on formative and summative assessments. Okay. If we look at our timeline, what we're going to be doing is in August here, I'm going to introduce you to Google Forms for formative assessment. So I have some links to some information on that. And then, and some other formative assessment resources. And then in September, we're going to start by reviewing the PLC and non-PLC actions document. I'm going to go over that real quickly as well. We're going to conduct a group evaluation of your PLC continuum for its effectiveness and where you are at this point. This is really just for you to see where are you at as a team, and then we'll do this again at the end of the year, and hopefully you'll see some growth as a team in some areas. It will not be used as a judgment on anything other than, hey, are we seeing growth? If we're not seeing growth in our PLCs, what should we be doing as an organization? And just really trying to have a growth mindset with that. We are also going to start a standards prioritization activity in September. And so more information will be coming out about that, but you'll be doing that as a group. And then in October, we'll be really digging in hard on that. So probably near the end of September, beginning of October, we'll be getting into the standards prioritization. And then November through May, we'll get back to really focusing on the ELTs and the assessments. Okay, your PLC membership at this point is right here, and there may be changes to this as we keep going. And so that is kind of an overview to the PLC planning document for iForward for this year. All right, so I want to jump back to here, and I want to just quickly highlight some PLC versus non-PLC actions. So this is coming from Solutions Tree, and basically they have told us that, hey, a great PLC action is the prioritizing standards, because that really addresses or helps you develop student-friendly worded ELTs, and you're focusing on the right standards. Okay. A non-PLC action would be grouping the standards arbitrarily or spontaneously, and teaching without a plan or with a minimal plan. So once we have our standards prioritized, we can then look at our curriculum and we can decide, does our curriculum line up with our priority standards or does it not? Then we can also decide, is there stuff in our curriculum that we can omit, skip over, things like that, because it's not a priority standard. Group standards into units is another action that a PLC does together. And, the opposite of that would be agree on a few standards and individuals choose the rest. So develop scope and sequence. That would be a group pacing activity. Unpacking the standards to understand learning targets and write student-friendly learning targets. So I kind of already identified that or talked about that. And we've been trying to do that, but we're going to kind of take a step back this year and look at the standards, then come back to our ELTs and just kind of refine that a little bit, and then really get going on writing our other ELTs. As a PLC, you should determine the rigor needed for proficiency, and you should identify practice and process students need to learn with content. Okay. And so that's with question number 1. What is it that we expect students to know and be able to do? And then with question number 2, how will we know they've learned it? A great PLC action is creating and using common formative and summative assessments. Some of this is already taken care of with our curriculum, but some of it is not, and that would mainly be our formative assessments. This part is a challenge because some of our classes only one teacher teaches them, so then it's kind of difficult to have common formative assessments. So we'll be, again, leaning on each other to provide feedback and help us to really write questions well. Okay, and so on and so forth. So you'll be talking about these in your groups, reviewing them, and then going over, making sure that you fully understand, what you should be doing in your PLC. All right, there's a PLC continuum document that I'm updating, and then I will get that in here. But basically, this goes with this self-reflection review. Actually, it's going to be a group self-reflection review. And so later in the year, we're going to ask you, or in September, October, we're going to ask you to be completing this, and you will be going ahead and answering your questions. So I'll just do a couple to start with. And so, for example, communicating effectively. The first one would be the school has established a clear purpose and priorities that have been efficiently communicated. Systems are in place to ensure action steps aligned with the purpose and priorities are implemented and monitored. If you feel like as an organization, and if your PLC feels like as an organization we're at pre-initiating, this would kind of describe what pre-initiating is. We're at initiating. This is the description. Implementing, developing, or sustaining, then you would select one of these. So let's say you thought this was pre-initiating, and you had a discussion as a group on this. And then the next one, let's say the leaders in the school communicate purpose and priorities through modeling, allocation of resources, what they celebrate, and what they are willing to confront. If you think we're at initiating on that one, because leaders can articulate the purpose and priorities of the school with a consistent voice, but their behavior is not congruent with their words. The structure, resources, and rewards of the school have not been altered to align with the professed priorities. Then you would select that one, and then you would continue on and go next. Okay. And so as you complete this as a group, it will provide us with information, and then we will be able to know what we need to do. All right. So that is an overview of the different activities. When you jump into formative assessments, here are some different things for formative assessments that you could look at. So please take a look at that, and we'd greatly appreciate it. Hopefully this was helpful, and let me know if you have any questions.